Alrighty, we're back with One Punch Man chapter 195, the redraw, featuring an awesome Saitama on the cover. And as I talked about in the last video, this is the first of 8 chapter redraws. Murata has confirmed that the last 8 chapters will be redrawn and will be completely different, his words, than the ninja arc we've been reading for the last 4 months or so. And most of this chapter is pretty much the same. We get introduced to the Heavenly Ninja again. It's the same interactions with Sonic, but the last few pages with Blast are vastly different, and it appears that Blast remembers the battle between Saitama and God Garo. Even though Saitama doesn't remember, Saitama was able to rewind time and take out Garo in one punch, but he didn't remember the fight, and he seems pretty adamant about the fact that he doesn't remember it, but Blast does, meaning that he can either appear into multiple timelines or there's multiple dimensions or something like that connecting everything, and it seems like Blast knows what's up, which is peculiar because we know that Genos could kind of figure it out as well, considering the fact that Saitama brought his future core back in time and Genos put the pieces of the puzzle together. But Blast somehow knows about Saitama's true power, and he tells Sitch that Caped Baldy is the one that defeated the monster Garo, and Sitch literally can't believe it. So quite a bit to talk about here. Let's jump in. So the new redrawn pages start right here, and we remember from the original 195 that you can see the experiments going on in the background. They were trying to figure out how to revert monsters back to humans, and Blast was saying that it has to be psychological. They have to want it in order to kind of manifest their reality and become a human again. But we've scrapped that here in the redraw, and Saitama doesn't even realize that like Blast is a hero, I guess, in the Hero Association. So he hasn't seen Blast since Blast teleported them away from God when they were deep down in the Monster Association and God started to talk to Saitama. And Saitama says, "Thank you for quickly taking us out of that underground place." Blast says, "No need to thank me. Your abnormal strength caught my eye at the time too. Taking the initiative to come out here saves me the trouble." And this is where Sitch starts to freak out because he's like, "Blast just verified that it was you that defeated the monster Garo." And Saitama doesn't remember any of that. And so he's like, "Yeah, Flashy Flash keeps pestering me about that too, but I don't remember it." And he doesn't really remember much. And Sitch is like, "Yo, you need to fix your memory problem, god damn it." So it seems like Genos now knows, Sitch knows, Blast knows, Flashy Flash, Amai Mask. More and more people know that Saitama was the one that defeated Garo. And the thing is, although they can't remember it, I guess Blast is the only person that can like physically remember it since it was a different timeline. Something with the time travel, Saitama lost his memories of that alternate timeline where he fought God Garo out on Jupiter. And presumably he also lost his power up as well because during their combat he was growing exponentially more powerful. But we know that Saitama can always do that again in the future, so I'm not too worried about him losing his serious sneeze and things like that. And Saitama's like, "Yo, can you guys stop shouting at me like the Garo thing is resolved already?" And this makes Sitch sweat and gulp even more because he's like, "What? Resolved? Like this thing was like a god level threat. Like it could have destroyed humanity. Like you're taking it so lightly." And this is because Blast met with Sitch and told him that this threat of Garo was a potentially extinction level event. Without a doubt, the Earth was in trouble. And this image that he's talking about is Garo's gamma ray burst. This is after he had taken the power of God and he was trying to destroy Saitama with a finishing move. Saitama specifically said this attack could be dangerous if it hits the Earth. Like it has potential to destroy the Earth, and Saitama kind of pulled a Goku and redirected it away from Earth, and I guess it hit him, it blew off his cape and stuff, but obviously he was able to survive. And then Garo went on a little bit of a rampage, just killing Genos before Saitama ultimately returned. He must have been blown really far away from that gamma ray burst. But again, Saitama doesn't remember this, and somehow, even though Blast wasn't there yet, he does. And Sitch asked Blast what exactly is Caped Baldy, and as we know, it's someone who has broken their limiter. But Blast says, "I don't know, I couldn't see the bottom at all, we need to find it out." So I feel like they're completely changing Blast's character here. First of all, somehow he can see through different timelines, unless there's some other explanation I'm not seeing. He must have some sort of either psychic ability, which we had estimated before from the guidebook, saying, but those were all like rumors about his powers. One of them was that he was like one of the strongest psychics. That is back on the table, I guess, now as potential, because Blast can somehow like read his power level. And if that's anything, it's either a technology or it's some sort of psychic ability. But if Blast is able to recognize the limit of one's potential, that has connotations of its own right. Potentially, Blast could be the one that actually explains what happened to Saitama, how he broke his limiter, and what exactly it means. Does it have something to do with God? I feel like if it did, like if God granted Saitama his OP power, wouldn't Blast know about that, considering he's been chasing and fighting God for over 20 years? I feel like he would have some insight onto that, but he doesn't. So to me, that means that Saitama is the first of his kind, and his power must have come somewhere that is not God, which a lot of us have theorized with. How could you get power that strong? It would have to be the power of God, right? But like, why would God create a being that is a threat to himself? Which obviously it will be in the end of the series as Saitama fights God, the final fight of the series. Sitch asks Blast if they need to keep an eye on Saitama, and Blast is like, I didn't notice any ill intent from him. He seems fine to just be free running around at large. And also, if you try to do anything, Demon Cyborg would come after us as well. Sitch asks, was Garo the god level threat that Shibawara prophesized? And Blast says, no, it was not the end. That was just the beginning, because in truth, a greater threat than Garo is imminent. And I don't know if he's talking about the founding ninja, Empty Void, or is he talking about God himself? But I'm very interested, so they're going to rewrite and redraw all these chapters, potentially changing Empty Void even more. I don't know if they're going to change his look or change how strong he's become. Is he going to become a bigger threat than Garo just so we can get like another ultra hype fight in the series, which honestly I was ready for anyway, but I guess that they want to incorporate like more storytelling revolving around God and Saitama's secret. And it's kind of crazy now that Sitch knows about Saitama's true power. Not only that, it appears Blast is some sort of psychic. He can see through multiple dimensions. He can see how far someone's potential and limit actually is. He could tell that Saitama had no limit. He could tell that without even seeing Saitama fight at all, unless he was there on the battlefield watching Saitama fight Garo, which it appears that he was from this kind of flashback image, but we didn't see him there in the manga during those chapters as Saitama was fighting God Garo at the very beginning, because that was like pretty much the beginning of the fight. Garo used Gamma Ray Burst very early in their battle and blew Saitama away for a chapter or two before he returned when Genos took a fatal blow. But this is pretty interesting to me. It's almost like adding more mystery to the story, and I'm pretty excited for it. I love that Blast is like this gateway to the information that the fans seek. It's like he has more knowledge to give us fans and readers than pretty much anyone else in the series, with the exception of God himself. And so if One and Murata are going to go in this direction, that means we're getting closer and closer to the War on God arc. And I guess my only real question at this point is the imminent threat Empty Void, or does this mean that the War on God arc is coming sooner than later? Well, I guess we're going to have to find out. So I'm not actually too opposed to these redraws. If they're going to be giving us more information like this and reveal more secrets about the characters' abilities and personalities and things like that, I'm absolutely for it. Definitely, there's a million questions still currently for One Punch Man, and even if they answer one every chapter, I would be happy. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. To be honest, I'm pretty excited because it feels like they're going to give us way more justice with this Empty Void fight, and potentially some ultra hype nuggets of information are going to come about God in the upcoming weeks. So I'm actually pretty pumped, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks for stopping by today to Mastar Media. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a thumbs up and a comment down below to help me out with the algorithm, and I will see you guys soon for the next one.